So like, all the people over Skype say yeah.
Yeah, nobody say nothing.
Show me your hands.
Front-end knowledge is pretty, it's not really special. It's cultural.
What's the other side of that must be
It's online.
Sorry?
It's online utilizing.
Yeah. One. Didn't reply anything. Cool.
Yeah, maybe we have. Well, even when I try something different, it's been a couple of days, like this morning. Because it was hectic, and I could have a week ago. I never saw it a week ago. I was like, what?
So that's how.
But all of them are comfortably cycling for the industry.
Okay, cool. I have one confirmation, two confirmations. It's working. So, okay. Let's start. The idea of this brown bag is to show how to automate tasks using Microsoft Flow and Azure functions. So why use both? Because Microsoft Flow has some good integrations, and you can define different flows, and Azure functions, you can do some things that Microsoft Flow. So first of all, what is Microsoft Flow? At the very first, when I saw Microsoft Flow, I thought, okay, I knew if this and that, because Microsoft's trying to recreate something that already exists. So later on, when I check how it works, I realized that basically it's the good old Windows Workflow Foundation running in the cloud. So basically what Microsoft did is, let's bring Windows Workflow Foundation to the cloud and add a bunch of connectors. So what Microsoft says is, work less, do more, basically. So this is the premise of Microsoft Flow. You have a bunch of inputs, process, and states, change data, and you have an output. So still, what Microsoft Flow does is an event-based flow. So it responds to an event, and you define a flow based on that event. It has a bunch of inputs. I'll show you like how many inputs it has. It's a lot of inputs, basically what they call it bindings. You get from those bindings, you get data, and you create a flow with those data. So after all the flow, you have an output. So basically, is that you get something transformed and output. And the good thing is about integrations. So with all integrations, you don't need to write any integration at all. So everything is done for you, it's ready, just use it. So this is just one example of how many integrations it has. It's the basic ones that you will see when you go to the Microsoft Flow webpage. But as you can see, we have at least 94, and it's just growing. So just to create an example, this is the demo that I'll show. That's the diagram that this demo has. It has an input. Basically, you do a decision over that input, and if it is yes, you have an output. If it is no, just drop it, do nothing. So based on this, someone is saying something. Since this 100%, maybe we can
Closer.
get, yeah. I don't know if we have volume here. Probably I'm speaking here is easier.
That's speaker volume.
It's speaker. Okay, I'll try to
We look closer to you.
Yeah.
Just block Josh's view.
closer. Yeah, that's fine. Good. All right. Better? All right, cool. So for this example, I'll bring the Microsoft Flow. Here it comes. So basically, this is the one flow that I'm using right now. I've tried to use. It doesn't work well because YAML integration is not that good. So basically, what I do here is I'm looking for my integration feed. So everything that is happening in Yammer, it triggers here. So I'm looking at inside the object that we received from Yammer. That basically is a JSON file. And the plain message that we have, I'm looking for a take a moment to welcome. That basically, if you guys understand how Yammer works, is when someone just get registered inside Yammer. So Yammer send an automatic message in the all group saying, take a moment to welcome someone. So my expectation was to respond to that message saying, welcome. So this was my expectation, but integration didn't work that well. So basically I'm missing some messages, and every time that we have that message, Microsoft Flow never get it. So I don't know if it's a Yammer integration or Microsoft Flow integration. So that integration is not working well. So I need to do it, just welcome everybody, man. So that's just an example. What we can do is a simple flow. It's just an if statement. So, but it's worth it to try. So back to slides. Yeah, that's a simple one. We can see that we have an input. That input is a string that will trigger everything. We do an if statement over it. If it's yes, which is never happened, but I hope that will happen someday. We have an output. That output is just to reply to that message. All right, let's continue. So, enough of flow, let's go to Azure Functions. What is Azure Functions? So based on website, Azure Functions is just an event-based stateless compute experience to accelerate your development. Basically, what that means is you don't need to care about creating an app and deploy your app and all the boilerplate code that you need to create your app. For example, you don't need to create a full MVC website just to host one method. So people say, like, this is serverless, but actually this is a appless. So you don't have an app, you just have a method. So serverless is the cloud host. Cloud host is serverless. You have an app that is hosted without a server. So this is more appless. So you can scale the same as cloud does, nothing special. So what is Azure Functions is a serverless architecture. It's not a big deal. Trigger, you have a trigger bindings. So basically Azure Functions works with bindings. Everything is a binding in Azure Functions. So you have trigger bindings, you have input bindings, and you have output bindings. So everything is based on bindings. So it's just one trigger, and you can have multiple inputs and multiple outputs. And the beauty of Azure Functions is code is full C#, F#, Node, and whatever new language you can use it on it. Just create your method, host, and start using it. So to show how binaries works, these are all binaries that are available now. I'll not say everything here, but basically you can see that you have trigger binaries. That trigger binary can be an input, can be an output also. So depending on the type of the binary, it can be used as a trigger, an output, and an input. And you can see here that it's heavily attached to the Azure, to Azure, to all Azure lifecycle, like all Azure apps that we have beside Azure, like database, tables, blob storages. So everything that basically Azure gives to us, we can use as bindings. So again, a demo. So this demo is a little bit simple. Just have an HTTP trigger process, and we have an output. Let me bring Postman to show that demo. Basically what we have here. All right. So you can see that it was a localhost. Let me change my hosted host. So basically what this demo does is takes an online image, process that image, and blur those faces. So just an example of the power of Azure function. So I don't need to create a full app just to do that simple thing. I have this idea that when I receive some pictures from the principal of my daughter school, because I'm not allowed to show kids' faces, so he was painting manually each kid face at the image, so why not do it automatically? So basically what this function does is get the image from the body, show here. So at the body I show image has an endpoint of that image. It's a random image from the internet. We're going to Azure function will download that image, process, use the recognition face API from the old project early use. I don't remember the name, the new naming stuff for Microsoft, but yeah, just detect faces and blur those faces. And the output is the new image. So if we do the call, it will take a little bit because it's the first time I'm calling that API since a while. So it's the same as spinning up one app. So it takes a little bit. And we're going to see the result. Yeah. Here the result. So basically it takes all the images that was identified, some that one face that wasn't identified, but if the computer doesn't identify one face, it's better than doing every single face. So all right, so let's see how this code looks like. So here I have where is let's change presentation. Where's my tab? Right, it's not here. Yeah, all right. Here we go. So this is the online editor. So basically, if anyone here is use it to VS Code. Here's VS Code Online. So we can edit and configure and play with our Azure functions online. The code is online, just start tweaking. So this is my face blur function. We have a function configuration. Basically, it's all the bindings that we have. So we can see that authorization level is anonymous. Everyone can do a call. It's a request. The name is the request. That name is the name that we will receive in our function as a parameter. And the direction is in. So basically, it's an input. So, and type is an HP trigger, because we do a call to HP endpoint, and this trigger our function. So, and the output, the name of the output is res, the response. The type is HP, and this direction out. Project JSON is the project JSON that everybody's used to if you work with .NET Core. It's just creating dependencies. We can see that we have dependencies on NuGet packages. So that's one good thing about Azure Functions. We can get NuGet package directly. It just works. If you're using Node, it's a little bit harder. That's why I didn't use Node. You need to go to the console, do an npm install, and all those things. It's not simple as that. And we have the run CSX, basically the script sharp. And this run is our entry point. So every single Azure function entry point is the run CSX file. Here, when we are using an external library, we need to add a reference because we don't have a project saying that we are using different assemblies. So we need to bring those assemblies. They are external files. And here we have the code. Right. So basically the code download, get the response, identify the image body, download the image, use the external library to process that image, identify the faces using Project Oxford API. Based on what that API gives us for the faces. I'll not go in details here, but that's the idea. So as we can see, it's pretty powerful. It's just one method. If I want to do that in an MSC project, probably I will have at least 10 files just for creating and bootstrapping the application. So based on this brings us to the last one is how do we integrate Bud. So as we can see that we have Microsoft Flow that can have different bindings that Azure Functions have. For example, if I want to take something from Yammer, for example, that I need to look for a feed in Yammer. If I want to do that in Azure Function, probably I'll need to take a Yammer API and create everything, resolve authentication. So Microsoft Flow does this for us. So it's pretty much basic, and then we can integrate both. So for input and for output, we can do both. So how to integrate both? Simple. Microsoft Flow and Azure Functions talks HTTP. Nothing special. One can call it each other. So Azure Function has an HTTP trigger. Microsoft Flow can listen to HTTP trigger. So it's pretty much the same. Just call each other. So this brings us to the last demo. That's the integration demo. And for integration demo, I will show back to our flow. Is it? Let's close. Yeah. We have all flows. This is our OFX weekly update because at OFX, I don't know if you guys follow the weekly updates. You should. But at OFX, all teams that we have there, we aggregate all the weekly updates in one message and send it. So we need to decide who will send. So who will send? We just sort. So basically that integration is not based on this one, but it's a manual trigger. Manual trigger is a button. So I have Microsoft Flow app in my phone. We have a button. We trigger that button trigger. Do an HTTP call. That HTTP call, we can see that is Azure function. And that Azure function reads from a file in my OneDrive with the list of names that we have. Everybody that works in OFX sorts out and send a message to Slack. So that's it, simple as that. This is an integration demo, but I will not show that one. I want to show other one. So the integration demo that I want to show here is how basically is to resolve Dom's problem, because this brown bag is based on a Dom comment. He was trying to figure out how we can receive a message if something in the website changes. So basically, he wants to buy a new laptop. He wants to take a look at when this laptop price get down or get up, depends. So we're going to create an Azure function that is triggered based on a con trigger, as I showed here. It's a con trigger. So this con trigger will take an input file that has a configuration on which website it needs to take a look. What is the selector inside that HTML file? So basically we are doing CSS selectors. Based on CSS selectors, I'll look into a data that is inside that, compare with the old data that I have that is persisted in that file. If it is changed, I will trigger my flow to send me a push. So simple as that, and at the end, I'll persist the new data to the file. So let's go to the example. Here we have the content compare function. So that content compare function is a little bit different. We have trigger binding. That's just the binding that will start our function. We're no longer relying on the HTTP calls to trigger. We have a schedule based on a good old no cron. So basically this cron is saying every full hour run, in 7 minutes this will run. So the direction is in, is the input. We have an API hub file that's also in. This file is inside my Azure Functions content compare JSON inside my OneDrive profile, and the output is the same file. So basically I will receive that file and write that file as an output. So our run CS file, just that. So that example is to show that you can create an external library and use that external library. You don't need to have the whole code inside the function. So basically what I did here, I created an external class library, call it implementation DLL. This class library could be any language that I want. For example, I'm using C# just to get integration, but that language can be F#, can be VB.NET, anything. It's just a compiled language, a compiled assembly. So that assembly needs to exist here at the bin folder. So at the bin folder, I have the implementation DLL and all other DLLs that this implementation rely on. So that's one thing that we need to be aware of. We need to bring all dependencies that this DLL depends on. So it's inside bin folder. Just ask for that assembly and use it. So inside content compare run, I'm just sending my input file, my output file, and log. Just if anything wrong happens, I'm logging. So inside my implementation, that's here, we can see a real code. So one good thing about it is my code is here. I can have a test over it. So I don't need to go to Azure Functions, change here, online, run and test is everything fine. This is a class library, just test it. And when it's everything fine, upload, it's running. So here basically we're receiving the input file, the output file, log. I'm parsing the input file, checking for every single content that this input file has. For every content, I'll go to the website and process that output, that input. So code, show the code, how is it? It's just code, nothing new. So we are going to a website, check the selector and see. One thing that I want to show is the file that we have. So basically, the file that this function reads, and it's ready. Here it is. This is the file that this Azure function uses. So basically, we have a URL, we have a content. This content is the latest content that was read from this URL. We have a selector, CSS selector. I have a second selector that is the title selector, because when I send me a push message, I need to know what is changing. So basically, these selectors just grab which data I'm selecting. And I have a push. So basically, that push is the HTTP endpoint that Flows gives me when I create my flow. So if we go back to our flow, here is that endpoint. So that endpoint is the endpoint that my Azure function will call, and I will receive a push message. And here is just a push notification. So if I can have a little bit of time, I don't want to take too much. I'll try to bring my phone. See if it works. Have two-step verification, of course. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't know my password, so I cannot show. But let's do it in a different way. Let's go to the file. Let's change that file. For example, I'm looking at this, look that I'm changing that file locally, but because that file is in OneDrive, OneDrive will sync right away. So basically, the last content is empty because I will not send push notification if the content didn't change. So that's one thing that I have here at my code. So if the content didn't change, I'll not send me a message. So I changed the code. Probably the file is already synchronized.
Oh, we have to wait 1 hour.
Now we can run. Probably it's running now. We can run manually. I have content compare here. So this is Microsoft Azure Portal. Nothing new. Everybody knows. Easy to. We have my functions here. So this is my content compare function. We can save. We can run. We cannot change right now because I'm using continuous integration. So basically, I host this code in my GitHub repo. That GitHub repo, whatever it changes, it's deployed. So if we take a look, all right. For example, let me show to the people that are in the, everybody can see, I don't know if you can see, yes, this one. Of course, yeah, I receive it. Okay, now change, okay. So the idea is I received in my mobile push message with the changes. So it run now at 11 p.m., 1 p.m., so I receive it here. So that's it. That's the idea of the integration, because Microsoft Flow cannot do this for us, all the processing. So the idea is to use an external resource called Microsoft Flow and receive at least push notification. But it's something that it's not easy to do. If I want to do a push notification from Azure function, I need to write app and deploy, install an app, and do an integration with mobile devices and etc. Everything that we need to do just to send a push notification. So I just need to have my Microsoft Flow app in my phone, and integration is done. It's not my push. All right, so that's it.
That's changed?
Yeah, right. So that's it. Just want to show how we can use Microsoft Flow and Azure functions, how to integrate them. We can spend a lot of time talking about Azure functions, but I want to stick with the objective here that is show the integration one. And that's it. Any questions? Everything is fine? Yep.
Did you ever use Microsoft Flow in solution for a customer?
No, just for play.
I see it's tailored to the personal account and the accounts you're using. So if your account is deactivated, any flows you have not work. Not like functions. So functions kind of service that you can.
Yeah, but you can have an external. For example, at the example that I showed here, that is the integration. Where is it? The file. For example, for this file has an endpoint. That endpoint, anyone can call. If you want to send me a push message, you can call this endpoint with any content, and I will receive. So,
Yeah,
pretty much the same.
But I mean, it's still stick to your account.
Yeah, we can have.
If your account's deleted or deactivated,
Yeah,
any flows you have, it's not
but it's the same as the portal. If I'm doing that functions in my account goes away, all the functions go away. It's the same concept. You can have a.
Can you share? Can there's a team can work on the same flows?
Yeah, I saw today from Microsoft Flow that it has a new let's close here, a new feature that you can add a second person as admin of this flow. That is here. It's brand new. I saw it today. So it's something that Microsoft is really pushing. It's getting new content, new features every day. So maybe this will solve your problem.
Do a backbone page and see the team flows. What's that?
Probably is the new feature.
So is that all the ones
Maybe
we share?
someone
Yeah.
lets you as an
Probably this is mine. If I share with someone, this team, or if someone shared with me, will appears here.
How do you set up a Git integration?
With Flow or with Azure
Functions.
Functions? Okay, with Functions is too complex to do it. So basically, I go to the Function App Settings, Configure Continuous Integration. Click, click, next, next, next. Done. That's it.
Done.
So if you edit in Monaco or the web editor, that will fit back.
Sorry?
If you edit it in the function in the web editor, that fits back to Git.
No, no. When you have the continuous integration enabled, you cannot edit locally. So it only respects what comes from the source code. So, but it's a continuous integration. If you go to you have any commit, you will deploy right away.
And the DLL that your custom DLL,
Yep.
does it have to go through a build or something like this?
No, no. You need to commit together with your code at the bin folder.
Right.
So it needs to be pre-compiled at that bin folder.
Pre-compiled.
Yeah. Yep.
So what the state of functions? Last time I heard it was like development preview or something. Is it ready for something big or it's still like in
I
development
believe
to
it's
play with?
T1 preview, or if it's not preview, just change it. But yeah, I think if it's not out of preview, it's almost.
Mhm.
It's full integrated. It has a bunch of support. So support
Oh,
is really good.
What was the experience? Because last week was even really hard to find these functions on the Azure portal. It was hidden somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. If you go to Azure portal, you see that functions is right away.
Nice.
Just create a new function. You have that other page that there was. You can start adding different functions. You need to create just one resource, call it functions, and you start adding your functions there.
Okay. Any issues that you encounter during development?
All right. During development, depends on how you want to develop. So there is a package that you can develop locally. So, but that package is really in early beta, so it's a little bit difficult to do it. For example, in my experience, I started doing it, didn't work. So it started asking if I want to download the latest version, but I was with the latest version that I have a little bit some problems. After resolving all the problems, it works. It just resolves and hosts locally a function. But the experience is not that good because if you start getting bindings from external resources, you don't have access to it. So you cannot execute everything. That's why I opt to do an external class library and test that external class library, then update to Azure functions. I believe is a better